No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today I'm having to sit down with a man. You come very highly recommended. Good friend of mine reached out to me, told me there's a band coming up in this world that is dipping and dabbling in hip hop and rock all at the same time, and that it would be a worthy conversation. So without further ado, Clayton of Reverse Pathogen.
Yes.
How's it going?
Good. Glad to be here.
Definitely the first person I ever interviewed who was wearing a suit. Or, excuse me, a tuxedo.
Really? Nobody else?
Nah. Well, if I really were to scour my brain, there could be another one, but I highly doubt it.
I just wanted to come professional, come correct, you know?
No, I like it. Some would say you're kind of overdressed, but I mean,
Rather over than under.
bingo. That's what I was thinking. So, okay, tell me a little bit about your early life before we get into like where the band came from and everything.
Well, I lived in several states, but I was born in Philadelphia, but then moved to New York, then moved to Temecula, then moved to New Jersey, then moved to Florida. But I would really say I'm from Broward County because I lived there from like 7 to 20s. So
For sure, you're from there, I would say, for the most part, yeah. Everything before 7 is kind of irrelevant, and everything after 20 is kind of,
yeah,
you're a grown-up.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. And what kind of kid were you?
I think I was pretty easy, mild mannered, but then now that you say that, probably not. Definitely got into, just young boys are troublemakers generally. I mean,
Right.
I'm glad I don't have children.
What kind of shit were you getting into?
Just typical stuff. Just I never passed spelling, and like I know they tested me. I have like the spelling of a fourth grader. So
Really?
yeah, when they did like a comprehensive brain thing, because I was trying to get extra time in the SAT, and then because I played college football, and like if you get like, I had Yale at a camp be like, if you get this SAT score, you can get in. I took that shit so many times and no Yale.
Really?
So
damn. So okay, you were getting arrested and shit like that, or
hell no.
Oh.
I mean, I've been detained for sure a few times for just stupid stuff, but never been officially arrested on paper.
Okay. What other stuff were you into at that time? Were you already real into music at that point?
I started playing cello at 7. Classically trained in flamenco guitar since age 10. So
wow. I went to a flamenco club in Spain.
Damn.
So I have a general idea.
What part of Spain?
I think we're in Barcelona.
Oh, it's beautiful. That's like one of my favorite cities I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Really.
The dudes were dancing on stage with the loud ass heels on their shoes and just clacking it up.
Yeah. I never had to do that, but I had to grow
Okay.
out like the nails and stuff.
Really?
And because it's like part of that, you have to like grow out whatever hand. I think I'm like one of the only people that it's like I'm left-handed, and I'm like one of the only people that I think has been classically trained left-handed, because they usually make everybody left-handed play right-handed.
Okay.
Which I wish I would have done, because it would be much easier to find instruments now.
Definitely. Okay. And so why'd you end up leaving Broward?
I was smoking a lot of weed at the time, and was definitely not legal then. And I was kind of just like, well, California, nobody cares about that. And so I was like, oh, I'll move to California. The weather's nice. It's beautiful out here, beautiful topography. You can smoke weed and not really any issue. So that's great. And I can't now because of a medical condition, but
What you got now?
a bone in my ear exploded. So, and I also have like this other thing called Meniere's disease, which is so like I have like several things going on with my ears.
Okay.
Hence why I didn't do the headphones.
Okay.
Because I have to, like even making music now is like painful. I get like regular headaches like every day.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, and the surgery for it is like they gotta like drill into your skull, like move your brain around. It doesn't even really work.
You know about tinnitus?
Yeah, I have that.
Oh, you already have it?
Yeah, like right now there's a ring permanently.
Yeah, for those who don't know, tinnitus is like a constant ringing in your ear, and I always hear about it from people who like work in the music world And anytime I'm at a party and I'm standing too close to like a speaker, that's what I'm thinking about. Because I know dudes who are in their 50s who have it
I would
bad.
suggest getting custom earplugs if you're going to like a lot of parties, and
Yeah.
just even they have different decibels, so it won't block out like all sound, but maybe at least wearing something like around 15 to 25, especially if you're going to be that close to a speaker.
I always think about that, but I also feel like every party I've ever been to that people are talking to me and I have no idea what they're saying anyway.
Yeah, so
I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's what's up. Hell yeah. I'm like, it's so hard when there's super loud music. And I look at other people and I'm like, you seem like you can hear other people. I don't know if I'm just fucked up or what.
I think they're just capping. They're probably
Yeah, I
just
think
like,
they're probably doing the same thing I'm doing and just saying, yeah.
yeah, like I mean, I lived in Atlanta for like 2 years, and just going to the clubs there and stuff, because like there's really nothing else to do other than go to like basically like everybody goes to a strip club. It's kind of like a social thing, more social gathering. So if you have like any kind of friends or anything out there, it's like
Mm-hmm.
that's where everybody kind of meets up, and like it's a very normal thing. They actually have good food generally there too. It's kind of a surprise. Um, Cheetah Lounge actually has really good food, but the women don't get fully naked, so it's kind of like not as alluring as maybe like an Onyx or Magic City.
I like
But
that you have a comprehensive understanding. I went to Magic City out there. I didn't go to any of the other ones.
Magic City is cool. Onyx has its good days. It's one that begins with an A that we went to with the weird levels. I don't know. Yeah. There's another one that begins with A, but it's like stairs. It's like these weird stair level things, and they just have like a lot. They like blast smoke machines in there. It's like a weird vibe. It's like I don't know. Atlanta is an interesting place.
For sure. So at what point did you start making music, and at what point did you start using the GhostLuvMe name?
Has to be like 8 years now, because I was dropping a lot on SoundCloud. I didn't really know how to like release music properly. I was just dropping it on SoundCloud. If you go back and look at my old SoundCloud music, it's so terrible. In my opinion. It just like everything from like boom bap to like auto-tune stuff to like then I put it in like the same SoundCloud project. Weird ass samples like Dora the Explorer fucking sample beat. It's like,
Was that like the X influence though? Because I feel like he was somebody who would put out, sort of boom bap rappy type stuff and then random campfire songs. He was doing it all under the same name.
I think being from Broward County, you can't not be influenced by
Right.
that. It's just like just opened up the door for everyone. Like nobody knew what Broward County was before him. Like I would say I was from there, and people be like, where is that? Now if I tell people even out here, they kind of have somewhat of an idea because of him and Ski Mask and kind of like what they did. So I think without them really being in the industry and kind of like opening up that door, I don't think I probably would have had any interest at all or fan base at all. So I think that was like really helpful.
Right, definitely. So, okay, yeah, when you start using that, or you started using that name when? What year did you say?
Probably 2017.
Okay.
Around that time. So I kind of missed the SoundCloud vote by a little bit because I feel like it fizzled out around like 2015. So,
Well, 2015, it was really kind of still getting going. I felt like by 2018 was when I started to kind of realize like, oh, okay, like now there's way more industry plants than like legit underground rappers with fan bases coming my way.
For sure. I mean, and I often wish I was planted for my own personal finances that I've had to invest in my career.
Right.
Been accused of it a lot, but I have no problem with that because every time I'm accused of being an industry plant and being like fully independent, it's kind of like a win because then you're like, oh shit, I must be doing something right, because if they put me in a group of people that they think are just like getting handed out opportunities and I'm like have to fucking bend over backwards damn near for this opportunity, it's like, well, then that's a win. So it's like I always view that as like a compliment in a way.
I feel like almost everybody gets hit with some pretty hardcore industry plant allegations at this point in time.
Oh, sure.
Even if like, even if it's blatantly obvious that you've been making music for 10 years and then you start to get more and more popular and you sign with like a big manager, it's like, boom, industry plant. Why would this dude be signed with the manager of this guy? Why? I don't understand. And it's like, well, he was working for 10 years. It's not that hard to understand, but it's so consistent now.
Yeah, it's like I always use like even like if you look at like the pop realm, like Sabrina the Carpenter and people like that, it's like
I don't know about that. The Sabrina Carpenter, right? Not the Carpenter.
oh
Yeah.
I'm getting old, so you know it's like but whatever.
I only know because my wife and child are obsessed with her.
But like I knew people that were working with her when she was like damn near a child.
Oh,
It's
really?
like she's been around for I think like a long time, and then
Yeah.
now people see her and they're like, oh, they're just trying to make her like the new Taylor Swift's or whatever.
My girl was showing me a video of her when she was 16 performing Taylor Swift songs live, and now she's actually coming out on stage with Taylor Swift. So
See,
kind of
Yeah.
says it all. Definitely. So, okay, when did that project, the Ghost Love Me thing, start to really get going?
Like at the very end, which is the funniest thing. Like I did
Because you retired it at what point? What year?
like 2 years ago, I went
Okay.
on DJ Clue, I think, in New York, and I just said like, "Yo, I'm not gonna make any more music. Like, this is the last music you guys are gonna hear from me.
Uh-huh.
I'm just kind of over it. I'm 30 years old now, and I didn't want to be that guy who was making like very young because like a lot of my subject matter and kind of like timbre and tone to everything was very young party influence, not really like gangster music, but just like oh we're young having fun, and then it's like okay, well if I'm 30 years old saying that, it's kind of like a
Mm.
little strange, in my opinion. So um I think like I just was like kind of over it, and then just like it was a lot more fun when I didn't have as much eyes on me. Then when I started to do songs with bigger people, got more eyes on me, and then it just kind of just stopped being fun. And I'm like, well, started making music because of my love for music, not because I wanted to be popular. So I'm like, this is cool. Like obviously being popular, but more money comes in. You can buy more cool shit. Like I like to buy things. I think we can all admit we like to buy things, right? I mean, like as humans, we just buy shit for no reason. So like but so that's like the cool part about it is like, okay, more money's coming in. Like, who doesn't like money? I mean, if you say you don't, you're probably lying or just on some evolved thinking that I don't think I'll ever get to.
Mm.
And then that's just kind of when it just got old for me was just like, all right. And then it just, I don't know, personally, like, I think a lot of like the creativity in hip hop kind of like got like, oh shit. I want the mic.
It's all good.
But a lot of it kind of just like plateaued to
Mm.
where it was like a lot of the beats were sounding the same, a lot of that everything. So I was like, well, I want to just do my own thing. So I have an artist actually underneath me, and I was making intentionally trying to make beats for him. And then after like a week, kind of came out with the first like Reverse Pathogen album by accident because I was like, well, this doesn't sound like a beat. This is real instruments. This is real, like, all kind of stuff. So I made that in a week, and I was like, well, okay, well, I'm gonna sing on this, and I'm gonna try to just do that, and then boom, try to just do another one just to have more stuff in the bank. Came out with that one in like 10 days, and then did another one, came out in 4 days. So I have like so much music saved up. It's like kind of ready to drop, but you can't drop like 3 albums in the same month. Like it just doesn't work that way. So
Right, definitely. So, okay, but before we like transfer to the Reverse Pathogen thing, how did you end up doing songs with like Future and Uzi and shit?
really, I would say like God. A lot of that was lucky. Like the Uzi thing was through one of his high school friends who produces a lot for him, and I just like would just continually get beats from him because I just liked the way they sounded, and I was like, he was kind of doing that stuff and just being a fan of Uzi's and stuff, and then it just kind of like I would always like send songs and be like, you think you would hop on this one? You think you'd hop on this one? So just basically just kept asking, and then just it just kind of worked out one day where they're like, hey, like and I kind of realized now why. A lot of the songs were like hand-me-down beats that he didn't want. So
Mhm.
like, why would you hop on like a hand-me-down beat that you didn't even want anyways? Kind of, because like obviously like if he's producing for Uzi, Uzi's gonna get the best beats. Like, why fucking not? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
kind of makes sense. So then it just just through that connection of Brandon finesse him. So shout out to him and thanks to him for that. I mean, like, without him, that couldn't have been possible. I
So,
still thank him to this day. Like, I literally thanked him like 2 weeks ago about it, even though I don't rap anymore. It was still like, well, thank you, because it's just like the song did well, and I know people didn't really like my part on it, which I don't really care about, but I know
So it was like a beat with an Uzi verse already on it.
we have the stems and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like you got on the beat and then sent it to Uzi and he got on the beat as well. It was like
No, it was already like a half finished song.
right.
Yeah. And they just sent everything through, and it was like, well, I'm like, I'm not gonna overdo this because I realize people love Uzi so much. So it's like it's kind of more of a win than him hopping on one of my songs and then people just being like, okay, we're only gonna listen to this 20 seconds of the song. At least he's on most of it. So
Mm.
and I thought it was cool because it was kind of a more vintagey Uzi vibe. So it was like it was cool just even as a fan to be a part of it.
But did you have to get that cleared through him and the label?
Generation now.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
they did it.
You already know you have to clear everything.
Right.
I mean, or else it doesn't come out.
Right. I know people with Uzi verses that they put it up and it got taken down.
Boop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to clear everything. That's what
Uh-huh.
people don't understand about features. Is like it doesn't matter. Like you could even pay the artist tons of money, but if you don't clear the feature with the people who the artist is signed to, the feature's not coming out.
Mm.
Like for the most part, you know what I mean? Maybe like some small eclectic artists it will, but I mean, you know, you got to do the proper paperwork and proper due diligence and all that. You know, even as an independent artist, there's a lot of like stuff that I think people don't realize you have to still do. If you're not part of the industry, you still have to get stuff cleared. It doesn't matter if you're signed or not. You know, if that person's signed, then they obviously have a say in somewhat, but you know, there's still like a kind of a boss they have to listen to as far as, you know, the person who actually says, okay, this record's coming out, this record's not coming out, this is whatever, you know what I mean?
What about the Future one? How'd that come together?
That came through a friend, and actually my dad called me and he's like, I guess he's a Future fan. He's like, yo, you should do a song with Future. I'm like, Dad, how am I gonna do a song with Future?
Right.
Like, how to even go about that? And then once again, just asked a friend who was in his camp and just heard my music and kind of just did that. And obviously stuff with Future, he's a lot more business savvy, so much easier to clear things with him than like other artists because he just like has a lot more say and control, just been around for so long. So
Mm.
you know, I would say, but still very blessed to be able to work with him, not once, not twice, but 3 times. I still actually have one song never dropped with him. It's actually the best one.
Mm.
I don't know if it's gonna come out, but I still like get so many DMs on my old page of people being like, come back, and I'm like, why? Like, I'm like, so it's like if I dropped something, it would just be for that, and maybe I would even try to like donate some of the money to like a charity of some sort or something, just because like I feel like, you know, it's just they're I don't know, like I'm just kind of over it, if it makes sense.
No, I feel it. But so is it when you put that stuff out and does it feel like it just performs well off rip just because the algorithm just sees that it's got popular artists on it? And
Oh,
like,
I think so, absolutely.
so you don't really have to do anything when you got like Future, Uzi in the title?
I don't think that you have. I don't know. I would say no. I don't think it's not do nothing because it's like I think obviously there's a lot of like back end stuff you have to do where it's like, all right, well, I have to run certain like Spotify ads. I got to run this on it. As an independent artist, you have to number one figure out what budget you're allocating, and then two figure out like you know they say like okay if you pay for a feature you should spend 3 times the amount on the budget.
Mm.
Which I have not always done, but it's like, you know, it's a lot of back end work still, even with that, because you could put out, there's songs where people are featured on and they don't really do any kind of numbers
Mm.
all the time. I mean,
All the time.
so, I mean, to get that kind of exposure at the same time, there, you know, there's stuff that blows up and gets to 1 billion streams. It's not happened to me personally, but I've seen it, you know.
Mm. Definitely. The last one I want to ask about, just because where you're from and shit, is how did you end up doing a song with Ski Mask?
That was through the same. That one I don't even really know. That's a good question. I'm trying to remember because I was on a lot of shrooms at that time.
Mm.
Ended up giving him shrooms at the same time. I
Really?
had to shoot. Because I had to is in Atlanta, so I had to like buy them in bulk. I don't know if I'm is that are shrooms?
No,
I don't
don't
know.
give a fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
I've done
But
ads on here, like brand deals for mushrooms.
oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
So
yeah.
that to me was like, oh, I guess nobody cares about this anymore.
Okay, cool. I think it was through the same like friend and just Ski Mask, cool guy to work with, and it was a cool video to shoot and everything. And I didn't really pick the creative direction for the video. I don't know, some like company did or something. Somebody who was like working on my team just had like these kind of like connections, I guess. But it was a lot of it was because it was just I don't know. I, it was like
It's just already kind of laid out for you.
it was not like I don't think these things are as hard as people make them out to be.
Hmm.
I think although I do hear a lot of songs that these artists do deny getting on, you can't really even give them any kind of money because the songs aren't good. So it's like, you know, whereas like I said, you gotta obviously clear everything, but at the same time, they're still not gonna want to like put out something that's like complete trash or hop on something that's complete trash and ruin their brand. You know what I mean? They still have a brand and everything to kind of, keep up. So I think like, they can't like just hop on anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the thing that's always kind of kept me like, oh, okay, like just seeing how much like being around certain artists, seeing how much like they do say no, definitely like made me feel very privileged to be in those type of situations where I'm like, okay, wow, this is a great opportunity. Whether it, you know, streams 40 million or streams a million, it's still an amazing opportunity to have because it's, you know, people are, I think of how many people would want this opportunity who aren't going to get a chance to.
Mm.
So it's, to me, it's once again, very blessed to be in those type of situations.
Definitely. So, who was the artist that was signed to you when you started the new project that you were making?
Trailer Kid, he's still signed to me, and I plan on dropping. He has a lot of good music, and he's from Atlanta. He's got a really unique sound. I think he's very underrated. And I'm always looking to sign kind of little artists here and there, but it's hard because I offer really fair deals versus a label, but people sometimes want like they might have like 10,000 monthly listeners and want like a crazy advance.
Mm.
And I'm like, a label is never going to even give you anything like for this unless they truly believe you and they're going to 360 you for your life and all this. And it's like, if I'm not doing that, then I'm not going to give you fucking a bunch of money to do this. Maybe I'll give you a setup to record music, make sure you have music out, make sure you have beats, all that kind of stuff. But it's not like I'm going to like, hold your dick and fucking while you piss and shake it for you too. You're like, shit, this is I'm if my company is an independent label, you know what I mean? If it's 100% not I run it, I release music through everything, so it's not like I can't like, you know what I'm saying? Like do all that kind of stuff and just it's kind of a draining process, but he was a lot more humble than a lot of the other artists. So I was looking at several artists at the same time, kind of almost trying to create like a little young scene around him, but then he just ended up being the only one that was the easiest to work through with, and very humble and just pleasure to work with, versus like just some people get kind of big headed even before the success, which I don't understand because I've seen artists that are like, for instance, we talk about Future. He's the most like humble, easy to work with, like person on the planet. So it's like, well, he's a millionaire several times over. Everybody knows who he is. He could literally pop into somewhere. People are going to recognize him by his face. Any type of person, all type of people listen to him. It's like he's broken through. He's done songs with all kinds of people in all kinds of genres. So it's like take a example from him, like, and humble yourself, I think.
Definitely. Okay, but so when you like, what was your rock influence that sort of led you to creating the Reverse Pathogen brand? What were you listening to that sort of fed into it?
I'm a huge Rolling Stones fan. I've seen them like several times. I like a lot of older music. I would say the what even made me kind of name it Reverse Pathogen was because of the Cure. It's almost like a play on their name. So I'm actually a huge fan of like that kind of like new wave music, like the Cure and stuff like that, and Smiths and all that kind of stuff. And I also really like the Libertines a lot, which is a little bit later. I didn't get exposed to some of that music really until I came out to California, especially like the later rock and roll. Like I never heard like people just don't listen to that in Florida.
Mm.
You know, it's like very heavy rap or reggaeton or
Just
a lot.
Pitbull and just I don't know, just Pitbull. I would assume, yeah.
It's funny you should say that because every year there's Grad Bash and they for all the high schools rent out Universal Studios. It's like every high school in Florida, and guess who performs?
Pitbull.
Pitbull.
One time I was in New York, and this is probably 2010, and I just see a line. I'm going to the Best Buy, and there's just a line around the Best Buy. And I'm like, I just go up to the front, and the security sees me and realizes I'm not a Pitbull fan. And they're like, you trying to buy something? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, you good. Come on. And I like go in, and then I like look over, and I see that they're setting up for a Pitbull meet and greet. And he just got the fucking Queens Best Buy just locked down. Everybody just going crazy. I was like, I had no idea that Pitbull had this kind of fan base.
He still does to this day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like people love him. Like especially in Florida, it's like
Right.
he's like a god. Like
Yeah.
over there, it's kind of crazy.
Insane. But so okay, like did this just like completely like create a new lane in your life, just doing this new project? Like how did that change like your thought process on what you were doing with yourself?
I think it did. I think it definitely. I was toning things down a lot. I kind of used to dress like a highlighter and stuff,
Mm.
where wear like the stereotypical big puffy Montclairs and all that kind of stuff. So it just made me kind of like number one value life more, um, and just kind of just change my whole perspective. I think a lot of that comes with age. Like definitely when I was younger, just was like I don't even know if I could have formed sentences if I was here. Like it just would have been like just doing everything under the sun. Just like thinking that like life is like a game, and then so it definitely changed my perspective on that.
Where'd the name come from?
The Reverse Pathogen.
Yeah.
Well, technically a dream. Like I think I like to think it's a nod to the Cure, and I'd like to think that's why, because the Cure reverse pathogen. Pathogen is a disease, so like a reverse pathogen would be a cure. So I like to think that's where it came from. But in the dream, I heard a band playing, and I can't remember what the music sounds like. And I tapped somebody on the shoulder, like I'm at a show, and they said, and I'm like, "Who's playing?" And they're like, "It's Reverse Pathogen. Have you ever heard of them?" Like what? And like act like I was dumb, and then I googled the name everywhere. I'm like, is this taken at all? I'm asked my engineer, like yo, go check if this is taken because this sounds dope to me. And then I was like, well, it wasn't taken, so I'm like, okay, wasn't taken on social media, wasn't taken on anything. So I'm like, all right, well, this is the name of a band, so that's simple.
Damn. How'd you end up doing the song with Trippie Redd?
That was kind of from my old career. And then we just retooled the song, and Josh Freese from the Foo Fighters plays all the drums on the album, so we put real drums on it, and then I added like 10 different guitar parts that kind of come in and out, just because if you go listen to like, I thought the song had a lot of pop appeal, so if you go listen to like a Carly Rae Jepsen song, like the Call Me Maybe thing, but if you were to see like the actual like music behind it, you would be like, holy shit, like there's a lot of in and out parts that like, okay, this guitar plays, then that never plays again, then there's this and that. So I had to like, I wanted to retool the song to be a lot more pop approachable. So it was just like it, the original song was very similar to that, but it was, on a beat and had, trap drums and stuff, and would have just been a whole different thing. And it would kind of sat in this like no man's land between rock and hip hop. And it's like, well, here we have this unique verse from Trippie Redd where he's not cursing, where he's singing, he's not rapping. And I just felt like we weren't getting our full use of it. Like, so I'm like, well, all right, let's change this and make it something that is what it's supposed to be.
Mm.
So yeah, that was basically the idea behind that. So
Do you feel like the fan base from your other project carried over to the band, the new
no,
shit?
not at all.
They don't care?
I just haven't really told people. Like I just haven't cared to carry over the fan base. I mean, I could have dropped all this music under GhostLuvMe or whatever, and I'm sure people have been like, "Oh, he's on some new shit," and thought it was cool or whatever, or thought it was whack. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the people, but it's a whole new fan base. We have a lot of fans in Brazil, Australia, UK. A lot of like rock fans. I've noticed like a lot of like the people who dress in all black with the eyeliner and shit.
Just goths?
Yeah, like those people love the music, and I never saw those people like post my old music.
Mm.
So that was kind of an interesting thing. So I thought that was cool, and there's a lot of them who like the music, and because we don't see those type of people in Florida, generally speaking. Like they're just not like it's not a thing. I think I had like one of them in my high school. Like there was like one guy who dressed like that.
Not the most opportune goth place, yeah.
No, I mean it's also so like hot. I think like
Yeah.
you can't really wear like all like they got like the whole getup is like a a lot of
I remember going to Mexico in like 2008 and just being like, what the because there was just so many Mexican goth people. Or like, but then I found out they were called like emos, which is like, to me, emo kind of signifies something slightly different. And like, I would just see so many just people out there just dressed like super dark. And I'm like, this is like, it's hot as out here. It's nice as when I think about goth shit, I'm picturing like Scandinavians, or at the very least, some guy in like Ohio or whatever.
yeah, that makes sense.
But actually, a ton of the biggest like metal bands are from Florida.
Really? I did not
So,
know that.
yeah, I think they just like hibernate there, even though culturally it feels like the least appropriate place you could ever be as a Floridian.
Yeah, like there's just it's weird if there wasn't for like hard rock that's like run by the Seminoles, which is they're such big fans of rock music, I don't think any rock bands would come through there.
Mm.
Like I think like it's just there's not as much of a market for it. There's like, like I said, it's so like because people don't understand in South Florida, like even in Broward, it's like the majority is all Latin based
Mm.
people. And then the minority is white and black. So like if you go to school with anybody, it's like everybody already speaks Spanish or whatever as well as English. And it's like it's so it's a culturally very different,
Mm-hmm.
like it's like you'll see a lot of like Argentinians, Colombians, Cubans, Brazilians, everything under the sun. But like it's just not, that's why I think like for instance, like Bad Bunny's a god in Florida. Like
Mm.
people love him. But it's like if you were even to go to like a Florida like studio, you would see more people making kind of like reggaeton or like stuff like that more than like
Mm.
I think now like a lot of the hip like rappers move down there and stuff, but into Miami and stuff. But it's just like that's like a new thing within the past like 2-3 years. Like
Mm. Interesting. So somebody told me that you recently had your nudes leaked online.
yeah, but
What was that experience like?
like nothing really because it was like I mean generally speaking like in 2024 I feel like it's like such a normal thing.
Mm.
It's like it's like it's like almost a who hasn't or b it's like I don't think there's a person in this room who should say like, "Oh yeah, I never sent my picture of my to a woman." Like what? Like I think it's a pretty normal experience. Like I think like it's just like just being such like the computer in our pocket is you know where we do everything. So
Mm.
just with thinking like that, it's like you know it's a very common thing. I think at this
Right.
point. So I think where I kind of don't ever see myself as somebody who is in the limelight. So I kind of forget that like, oh, somebody might just like want to put this out there just to like, get clout or do whatever kind of thing. And like
So where did it get released?
somewhere on Twitter, like a few different pages, like just posted it. And I'm just like, all right, like, so here it's out. Like, it didn't really like bother me. I
Uh-huh.
mean, it was more like one of those things where it's like, okay, cool. I mean, like it's kind of like one of these things that I just think happens to almost everybody. You know, there was like that big celebrity leak like a while ago. So
Right, yeah.
I don't think it was anything hacked through my phone. I just like think generally speaking, being, you know,
But you had sent pics to so many girls that you couldn't really like decipher exactly which one leaked it.
correct. Yeah. Yeah, like that's basically it. It's just like I just wouldn't know who leaked it, you know? Like just being an artist for so long, just so many women come around. It's like
Mm,
even if it doesn't matter what level you're on, it's like I've seen ancient artists with like women all around them even. So it's like it's just a part of a thing of being a musician. Like women are just around, so why not? It's like one of these things you're young and you're just like, well, why not?
right.
Just you know, see what's out there. Like, oh, she looks good. She looks good. She looks good. Why not
Send
t-
them dick pics.
see if, you know, you get a bite? It's like fishing.
Yeah.
And then if, you know, they respond back and then boom, you know?
I kind of almost feel like I'm trying to picture myself taking dick pics earlier in my life, but I feel like it wasn't that common pre like the iPhone becoming like decent quality.
Yeah.
Because I can kind of remember myself in Spain sending a girl a dick pic in 2012 and like struggling to cover up my tattoos, like so that it would not be like particularly incriminating. Even though when I think about it now, I don't know what the I was worried about.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. I'm never worried about that kind of stuff because it's like, who really cares? And the people who do care the most are probably the people who are the most even like porn addicted, like over sexualized mentally, you know what I mean? Because it's
Mm,
like whoever's gonna care about it is gonna like be the most like too much into that stuff. Because it's like to me, it's just a fleeting moment. Like
you don't
you know,
feel like it helped you get more fans? Like chicks are just like, oh, like I like your dick, so I'm just gonna check you
maybe,
out.
but maybe, but I mean, I even saw like DMs from men and women from that.
Mm,
So I was like, which is not I have nothing against anything. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. And um that was like, you know, I probably wouldn't gravitate. I try not to like mix like direct fans with like that kind of like other side. Like I try to be regular. I usually like if I'm dealing with women, I usually they ask me what I do. I'll be like, oh, I'm do marketing or this, or is this your house? Oh no no no, this is my manager's house.
mm.
I'm just here today. This is not my house. Like you
Have you
know,
ran into problems with fucking fans?
um, no, not particularly. I mean, like I just think like I just try to keep that so separate. You know, I don't usually get recognized because I'm like a lot. People don't know how tall I am and stuff, so I don't usually get recognized. I've only been recognized maybe like 10 or 15 times, like nothing crazy. Like it's such a small amount when you think about it.
Uh-huh.
And usually they just want a picture and that's it. And it's usually by like little kids, believe it or not. So that, especially when I was a rapper, like one time I was eating wings in Atlanta and the kid kept just staring at me, and I'm just like, and then I get up to go to the bathroom and I was with the security guard and he's like, yeah, the kid likes your music. He wants a picture. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's get a picture. Like, young kid, like, how are you going to deny it, you know?
Mm, definitely.
So
Um, you were neighbors with Kamala?
I still am. I don't
Wow.
even, and I still am. So I was hoping that she was going to win because she holds up traffic. I'm not political, but I was like, this this bitch keep like she will literally shut down Sunset. So I
If
know.
she moved to the White House, then you wouldn't have to think about it.
Yep, that was the hope. There's also a petition in my neighborhood. I mean, I could say where the city. I don't care. It's Brentwood,
Okay.
but it doesn't do anything. I mean, it's like you know, I'm not like scary like that. So
Right.
you know, so there's like a petition in Brentwood to be like, we don't care if how do you say her name?
Kamala?
Because I know if you say it wrong, people get angry.
Kamala? Kamala? Yeah, Kamala sounds right to me. Even though that might be wrong, but I really don't care.
If you say Kamala, I'll say Kamala. So
Kamala.
At least if it will be a collective.
I can't even think of what the other version of it is right now. Although I'm sure I have heard a lot of people correcting other people.
Yeah, like people get pissed about that. So there's like a petition like, we don't care if she wins president, just get her out of Brentwood. And I signed that shit because I was like, man, get her out. And her net worth don't even make sense. Her house is huge. And I Googled her net worth. I Googled her husband's net worth. I'm like, between the two of them, they cannot afford that house.
Right.
So I don't know if she got like some overseas under the table money or something.
I mean, even if you're the DA or whatever, it's like, I would assume you make $200,000 a year, which is,
she don't live in no $200,000 a year
that's
house.
what I'm saying. You want to live in fucking Brentwood. Average person who lives in Brentwood's got to be making millions of dollars a year, I would think.
There's Big B Brentwood, then there's Lil B Brentwood, I call it.
Is there? I don't even know.
Well, there's like Brentwood where the streets get a little wider. It's a little less near the streets and stuff.
Okay.
And the house is a little bit bigger. When I mean a little bit bigger, like 8 times the size of my house. So like I live in Lil B Brentwood.
Okay.
So it's still nice. It's nice. It's quiet. I like to be close to things, but also like tucked back a little bit. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So you don't like to talk about who you voted for or anything, or
I didn't vote. So I mean, we could talk about it, but I mean, I'm not gonna get in line for that shit. I mean, like, I literally call her Chameleon and him Agent Orange behind closed doors. So I mean, I'm not gonna vote for either of them. I mean, it's just there's nothing that like could have convinced me. I don't care like to vote for either of them. Like somebody just asked me yesterday, like gun to your head, who you'd vote for? I said, pull the trigger. I'm just never voted. I'm not a voter. I don't want to get your calls. I don't want y'all asking me for money. I don't want y'all anything. It's just like
there's a lot of people who would hear that and just be like, oh, that's ignorant. But from my perspective, it's like, I love and appreciate not having to really talk about politics on here.
Yeah.
The fact that like nobody is like dying to hear my takes on politics seems like, I appreciate that. I don't really want to have to fucking come on here and talk about the most divisive possible shit that you could ever have to talk about. And we do talk about it a little bit, but I've just kind of realized, like, to me, that's just, if I listen to a political podcast before I go to work, that's just pure entertainment. I'm learning about it. It's cool. It's interesting. But ultimately, I'm very thankful to not have to talk about it for a living.
I mean, it was like choose your villain during election night. Like if you went to Fox, it was like everybody was like all happy. Then if you go to like the CBS or MSNBC, I forget which one it was, then like people were damn near in tears. Like when this stuff was coming in. So I was like literally like clicking back and forth with them and being like, yo, like it really just matters what station you watch. And that's going to be your politics. So if you like consume too much media, then you're just that's what you're gonna be. You're gonna be Republican or you're gonna be Democrat. In reality, a lot of these people's policies are all the same, and they don't give a fuck about us. So that's something that they don't really like. You think Trump or Kamala give a fuck about like the average person out there?
Not so much. But now I have a Blue Sky on my phone as well, so it's like I got Twitter and Blue Sky. They're literally the exact same app, but Twitter is like 80 to 90% right-wing talking points, and then Blue Sky is like all hardcore Democrats.
I didn't even know Twitter was that right-wing. How did that happen?
Elon bought it.
And Elon's right-wing?
Big time. He's like Trump's best friend now.
He's Trump's best friend?
Yeah, they've been together like ever since he won the election. And he donated
the car guy?
Yeah. From Tesla and SpaceX and whatnot, yeah.
That's crazy. I don't even think he's from here.
No, he's from South Africa, yeah. That's what they do. If you're not from here, you just be buddies with a president or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it's like a business move for him or something. I don't know.
Definitely. Because he's trying to get a lot of the regulations overturned that are kind of like holding back him getting to Mars or him doing all the things that he wants to do with Tesla. So for sure, him being buddy-buddy with Trump is very advantageous to him from a business perspective.
So he's just playing the game. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't knock him for that, but I mean, like.
But also his daughter transitioned into a boy, and he seems like he's been pretty, or I think maybe it was a boy turning into a girl, I forget, but either way, that seems like it had a very big impact on him. And really wanted to
How
destroy wokeness after that.
how old was the child?
They're an adult now,
Oh, okay, then that's
but I think that
fair
they
game.
started transitioning at 16, and he is not happy about this and claims that he wasn't really like involved.
Doesn't he have like 15 kids?
I think he has 9, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I mean, shit. If you have that many kids, one of them's bound to transition these days. I mean, like, right? I mean, like, just
Shit.
the odds, right?
Feels like it, right?
So, I mean, you know,
Yeah. Okay. So like being that you're out here in Southern California, are you also trying to do other things in the media and stuff, reality TV, anything like that, or are you just focused on music?
I mean, I've had offers to be on reality TV for years now.
Mm,
Fuck no, I mean,
not down.
I just wouldn't do it, like, because it's not reality.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like, I am who I am when I'm like, I'm me every day. So I can't go on and be that. Like, if you want to cast me as like, you know, Russian thug number 3 in a movie or something, you know, I'm Eastern European, I'm Czech, not Russian, but that'd be probably like, I mean, I have no problem with that because it's a movie. People know it's fake. Like, I'll go be there, stand there and be, you know, whatever like,
uh-huh.
but you know, reality television is it's just. I mean, you probably know this better than me. It's like it's not real.
Yeah, they take you and then they will just turn you into whatever they want you to be. Take whatever you say, clip it up, make it seem like you're saying something completely different. And a lot of people go on to reality TV and they think that they're going to be able to outsmart it.
Yeah.
That they're going to be able to be like, well, they can't make me look like a abusive psycho boyfriend because I'm just not going to give them anything by which they could paint that picture. But in reality, once you hand over your identity to them, they can probably make you seem like almost anything that they want you to seem like.
Well, all Eastern Europeans have like resting bitch face, as they call it. So like, even though I'm happy right now, but like if you look at my face, you're like, he looks angry. It's just like if I smile, it's like, see, it's just not even natural.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
bought brand new teeth. I still can't smile.
I don't believe that I can smile with teeth either. It's like,
No, you whatever you are, you can smile. See that? If I saw that, I'm like, that's a fine, upstanding young man.
for real, I see other people smiling like that, and I'm just like, when I try to do it, like you're going to take a photo, and people are like, "Smile, let's see the teeth." I'm like, I feel like I look
What
retarded.
are you?
French Canadian and Italian.
Oh, okay, see, those are all kind of like the kind of whites that can smile.
Yeah,
You're lucky.
really. Shit, I didn't even know.
Yeah, like you got the smile gene. I don't know what was going on in Eastern Europe for thousands of years, but we just didn't evolve with the smile bones or
Yeah.
smiles. You know.
That is such a cold place. I feel like, you don't have that problem in Hawaii. I feel like in Hawaii they can smile.
They got great smiles. I know a bunch of Hawaiians.
There's a lot to smile about. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in like Moscow. It's like, even outside of the fucking government, this is like not the happiest, friendliest place on earth.
No.
Definitely. People are just ODing in front of you all the time off fucking crocodile.
Yeah, that shit is crazy.
Yeah. That was my memory of when I went to Russia. That was like the first thing that I remember seeing is like people fucked up on like park benches and shit, and they looked like they were dying in front of me.
Like shit falling off them and stuff.
Yeah, and just like hitting like poses that you never seen before. Like just like ways of standing there that you just never seen. When I think about it now, I'm like, well, fentanyl is.
Oh, that
should change. Now you're kind of used to seeing like I've seen people in public just sort of doing like this, and just like hanging there.
You ever?
And that's just like a fentanyl thing. Like,
you ever try fentanyl or no?
Not on purpose. I'm sure I got a little bit over the years.
So I used to do obviously a lot more like oxy and shit. One time I bought these blues and like I knew like I was driving to my studio at the time. I knew it was like 20 minutes away, so I wouldn't drive on oxy. But I knew like it wasn't gonna kick in right away. I take the oxy, boom. I drive to the studio, and then as soon as I open my door there, I take one foot out, and I'm frozen. And I'm like, and I was taking like 4 to 8 30s a day, so like, which isn't really that much. I know people that have taken more.
Sounds like a lot.
But so like this was off of one. So and then I just couldn't move. And I'm just frozen. Like time was frozen. My friend who was a producer who was meeting me there. He came like literally an hour after me, and I was still in the same position. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be fine. Just go home." I told him, like, because I was like, not sure if like I was gonna die or not. I'm like, "Yo, I don't want somebody else to watch this. So I'm like, boom, first thing is I go into the studio, go in the studio bathroom, you know, and then
You threw them up
oh yeah,
as much as you could.
I was like, yeah, this is clearly not oxy. Whatever this is, if this is like clear, like bro, I just stopped that stuff, like, because I even had back surgery and shit. So like I was like prescribed like Dilaudid, so I was taking like even like that to, which I hope the doctor doesn't see this, but
It'll be all right.
but he prescribed it. Nice guy though. I won't say his name, but what's it called? So yeah, I knew that I had to throw up. Then I woke up 2 days later. Like I literally, it was like literally a Wednesday. I woke up out on Friday. I'm like, what the fuck, like so. I just slept on the studio couch for 2 days straight, like 48 hours out. And I sleep like 3 hours a night. So I was like,
You felt very rested by the end of that?
no, I woke up feeling like a fucking zombie. I was
Oh,
like,
really?
yo, like that shit is no joke.
That was the thing I miss about Xans, is that I would just always feel like I got a really amazing night's sleep.
Yeah. Well, actually, with my condition, I have to be prescribed Valium. So it's kind of like the same boat.
What condition?
Meniere's, and like the bone thing messed up too. So it's like I have to be prescribed Valium just to even like function or do music and stuff. So, but I can't smoke weed anymore because of it. Because if I do, I'll just get dizzy and fall over. Like that's my manager there. Remember what happened when I smoked weed? We had to go to the hospital. So like, and I used to, how much weed did I used to smoke? Bro, I was spending like probably like 10, 20K a month on weed. Like I was smoking like literally like a half pound a day.
Oh, wow.
Like to the point where like just like almost a blunt in my hand every day. Like to the point where I can't tell you how many hotels I've got kicked out of, or like had gotten fines, or I'm like literally banned from certain hotels.
Right.
Like even out here, like just like
in the last couple of months, I went from smoking like 5 spliffs a day to like just totally stopping. And it is kind of weird looking back at it. It's like, damn, why was I putting so much of my brain into that?
Because it feels good.
It does feel good. But then you stop doing it for a period of time, you kind of feel the same, honestly.
Yeah, if not better.
Yeah. My cardio definitely feels a lot better.
But you always had good cardio, because remember when you used to do the bike shit?
Yeah.
Bro, you were in the front of the pack. You sold me bikes like 7, 8 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, so we met before, and
I
then
didn't realize.
you see, this is how
you went on some of the street rides.
Yeah, which you, after selling me the bikes, I was just trying to get bikes. You're like, oh, come to the street ride. See, people don't know how nice you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So,
but yeah, that was always something I really loved, was the cranking your bike up the fucking hill. That was always like a huge thing to me. I was like, I just want to push my lungs as hard as I can.
Oh, I know those street rides are no joke. I was like, where are we gonna stop? I'm like, I'm on it. I'm like, literally like, yo, are we gonna stop anytime soon? And you have the craziest thing too is you had one big dude who was with you. He had to be like 400 pounds, and this motherfucker was way past me too. I'm like, yo, like, I got to get my lungs tested or something. I'm like, or stop smoking or something, because I'm like it should. He for his size has crazy cardio.
Phil is a BMX warrior still to this day. Yeah.
Like he's a beast. Like that shit is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like that's like Country Bear. You ever seen that movie where like
Country Bear?
Country Bears?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's a great movie. And like
it's about bears.
It's about a bears who had this like country band, and then this other bear. He grew up. He's adopted by humans, and then he like is a big fan of the country band, so he gets them like back together.
Oh. Interesting.
Country Bears.
Country Bears. I gotta check it out.
Inspirational.
What? So, Reverse Pathogen is a band. Where's the rest of the band? Or like, are they like musicians for hire, and you're kind of like the main thing, or is it a collective?
My
project?
cousins also play on a lot of the songs and sing a little bit, but just creative differences kind of have been a struggle a little bit. So it's just been kind of like that. But we don't hire any studio musicians. Like, I mean, I have before for stuff like in the past, like especially as a rapper and shit. And I just always am under the impression I could have played that guitar part better or come up with something better. Like, there's no offense to any studio musicians, but like, if you listen to our songs are very like niche and like, even from like, I'm like a guitar nerd. So like, I mod all my guitars. I change out a lot of the electronics and all the stuff on it and everything. So it's like, it's like, you can't really just hire even some of these best players. But I mean, like, if you go back to like any famous rock song, like go look at the credits, you'll see this guy Tim Pierce and shit like that on there. Like, excellent guitar player. He's been on like so many songs. It's fun to go back and look at all this stuff. And like, that's the one thing. Like, I produced the whole album, so it's like, as being like the creative mind behind it, it's like, like, you can't compare this album to like a Green Day or a Good Charlotte or anything like that. That all had, gigantic producers behind them. So it just, mixed by Chris Lord Algae and all that kind of stuff. Like, this was mixed by me and my engineer, like together, just trying to like, so it's like, and I don't want a super high fidelity sound. Like, that's not the goal, like at any point in time. Like, even the new music that we're planning on releasing is very much in the vein of like, I made the first couple albums in my basement in Atlanta when I lived out there for a little while, and then I made one of the albums in a hotel. It's like, I'll make music anywhere, like, and that's like really the thing. I don't want it to sound like, I want it to sound closer to a demo. I want it to have feeling. I want it to be real. I don't want to have auto-tune cranked up. I don't want to crank up Melodyne. Like, if I hit a wrong note, cool. Like, I'm not a trained singer. Like, it don't matter to me.
Definitely. So, okay, what are your plans going forward in terms of the band and everything you got going on?
Drop more music for sure, and just to keep pushing on, go do some tours. We just did On the Radar performance.
Oh, really?
So
is that out yet?
It's about to be.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know, like whenever this comes out. So
they haven't had
it's
a lot
out.
Of bands on there, huh?
Yeah, it's cool. It's like it was fun. Cool experience. Obviously, I can't fly with my air condition, so I had to drive all the way to New York.
Oh, shit.
So that was 40 hours there, 40 hours back, and got to stop in a bunch of ancient cities. Just let me know that like living in LA is like really the move, because when you see the rest of the country, no offense to like the rest of the country, it's like just LA is so nice. The weather, the food.
You stop to get gas and it's like, 4 fast food restaurants, a Walmart, and then like a gas station, a couple gas stations. And you're like, you really get a picture of what the average American's life is like in the middle of the country. And you're like, wow. At least in my case, I am so fucking glad I live in Southern California, where there's a lot more shit going on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everything here is excellent. It's top tier. It's one of the best cities I've ever lived in. Probably my favorite city I've ever lived in. New York's cool, but it smells like piss everywhere. And, like, it's just like, even New Yorkers will tell you that. So I don't need to be angry, but it's just like, I don't see any other city I would ever want to live in.
Yeah. Even
San Fran's kind of weird a little.
Yeah, definitely a strange place up there. Shit, all right. It was good talking to you, and best of luck with the band and everything. Keep me up to date on what's going on with it. And yeah, everybody out there, definitely check the shit out if you haven't.
Yeah, for sure. I'd appreciate that. The band would too. So
hell yeah. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Much love.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming through. Reverse Pathogen, no jumper. Coolest podcast in the world. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Patreon, Instagram, etc. Like, comment, subscribe. We out.